Right then, guys, welcome back into the Spooky Shed, your go-to place for conversations around all things weird, scary, and of course spooky. Tonight with me, I have got Chris from the Wandering Road podcast. So, Chris, welcome into the shed, mate. How are we?
I'm good. How are you, Liam?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. Right, I've not given you much time to prep for this because I actually forgot to tell you. So, I always get my guests to start off by getting them to leave something in the shed with me. So, like I say, it can be something you love, something you hate, a person, place, a feeling, an actual physical object, whatever the hell you want. What have you got for me?
Okay. Something I'll leave in the shed with you. And you know what? My love for Lord of the Rings. I'll leave that in the shed for you. Something
Fair
positive.
enough. Is that because I said I don't like it?
Yes. And actually, no, because like I have like a whole, like I got a statue of Legolas, Aragorn, a bunch of Lord of the Rings Funko Pops. I have a couple of autographed ones. I met John Rhys Davies this past December when he came to Steel City Con. And I've always been a Lord of the Rings fan ever since I was little. I read the books. My parents bought the books for me. I asked for them specifically when I was about 11, watched the films, and it's always been a key part of, I would say, like my life and my formative years. And even in my writing, it influences when I write and stuff. So
Fair enough. I just because I've never read the books. I've only seen the films, and every whenever I watched one, I always just the first thing I ever thought afterwards, especially with the last one, if you took 30 minutes out of that, I would have really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
think that's what it is.
See,
There's just
I'm
so
the
many
opposite. I
long shots
love.
of them walking over hills and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't need to see this. Let's just get on with it.
See, I'm the opposite. I like the extended
Mhm.
editions because I think the extended edition of the Return of the King is probably 4.5 hours or so. So
No, I couldn't deal with that.
yeah. Oh, I love them. I love them. All the detail. I want more detail. You know, it's
Mm.
one of those. It's one of those stories. I will say the films are brilliantly made, but they had to cut out a lot for the sake
Yeah.
of like the film consistency. But if you want to get like the true like feeling and understanding, I would recommend the book. And if you can't read something, and I don't say that in an insulting manner, like some people just can't, like the book is very dense. There's some books, style of authors, Tolkien's writings, they're very dense.
Yeah.
So you have to be really committed to reading them. If you
Mhm.
don't want to read them, listen to the audiobook. Treat it like a podcast.
Yeah.
And they're fucking brilliant. And the most recent rendition of that is with Andy Serkis, who did the voice of Gollum.
Yeah.
He narrated the most recent rendition. So like if you like that, if you like Andy Serkis and you want to hear him read that, highly recommend it.
I might give them a go again one day because I've only ever watched them once, and like I say, I was just like, take half an hour out of that, and I would have enjoyed it. But my wife, she loves it, so I don't know. But then again, she also likes Twilight, so I don't know if I should trust her opinion on stuff.
I would say The Lord of the Rings is like the great grandfather of everything.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. All you Star Wars junkies. Star Wars would not exist without it. So
Didn't Star Wars come first?
no.
Did it not?
No. Tolkien
How
finished.
old are a lot of the Rings books then?
Dude, Tolkien wrote The Hobbit in the 30s, and he
Oh,
started writing
shit.
The Lord of the Rings.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So The Hobbit was in the 30s, and I think The Lord of the Rings were published in the early 50s.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, and he was colleagues with like C.S. Lewis and all those. Like, so if you fucking like Narnia, they all influence each other, man. So
yeah.
pretty gnarly stuff. I like it.
Fair enough. Right then, mate. So let's jump into the weirder things. So you want to start off by telling my listeners about your podcast and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So The Wandering Road, Liam, like your podcast, it is a paranormal podcast in nature. Sometimes we do topical episodes, so we'll probably talk about true crime. So we'll talk about H.H. Holmes. We'll talk about exorcism cases. We'll talk about aliens. We like talking about aliens. There was one time we did an episode very early on that was probably alcohol and like fueled, where we talked about the Anunnaki for 2 hours. So, we get a little bit here and there, but mainly it's a paranormal podcast, I would say. We get guests on the show. Our format is very conversational, so it's not like we're going to have a bullet list of questions. It's
Mm.
more so like, okay, here's what happened. Let us know. And then we just try to treat it like as a group of friends having a beer around a campfire, just sharing paranormal stories. Um, and the show started because, like, probably with everybody else, it was like 2023. We were still kind of in that like pandemic phase.
Yeah.
Everybody was making one. And I would bother my wife all the time with these different topics. And it's like, she's like, I don't want to fucking hear this. I don't want to talk about aliens. I don't want to talk about ghosts. So I'm like, you know what? Let me fucking make a podcast. I've always wanted to talk about this stuff. As we'll share later on, I have a plethora of experiences that I can't explain that I would hope maybe some of your listeners can share their opinions on. And that's how it grew from there. I initially started it by myself, and that's really difficult to do. I'm sure you know what that's like.
Mm.
And then I started getting guests on, and then I asked my one buddy, Dean, who is now my co-host full time, to come on, and we had a really good dynamic. And I was like, dude, you just want to stay on as a co-host? And turns out he wanted to do a podcast and he had the equipment and everything already. So we just started going from there. And I think the best part of doing the podcast is the different people that we meet.
Yeah.
Like Tommy, for
Yeah.
example. And that's how I ended up on here. Um, Met Tommy, we invited him on for an episode, and we ended up starting a football podcast out of it, which we'll get you on as well one of these days in the future. But yeah, man, it's one of those. It's laid back. It's chilled. Our most recent episode 173, we had Doug Bradley on,
Mm.
fucking pinhead himself.
Yes.
So it's been a fun journey, and I look forward to just continuing it. And I think like the most fun I have is when we bring people on
Yeah.
and they just share all of their experiences, because we're not here to judge anybody, because we've been through shit. We know people go through shit, and kind of creating like some sort of camaraderie and like a paranormal safe space for people to come and just share their experiences.
Yeah, yeah, I love it, love it, love it. We'll just say quickly if Tommy's listening. The Celtics are shit, Tommy. So deal with it, mate.
The Knicks are NBA champions, bitch.
Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, well, I mean, funny enough, like we've sort of gone the opposite way then, because I started off with a co-host and now I've gone solo, so that's different. But like I say, when we first started, we used to literally do everything, like I say, like ghosts, aliens, true crimes. I'm mostly onto the paranormal stuff now because that's the stuff I can actually get involved with a lot more. But like I say, we did all sorts of random stuff at the start. I think our fourth ever episode, I re-released it a couple of weeks ago. So if people haven't listened to it, go and listen to it, because I still maintain, even though it was only our fourth episode, I still maintain it's one of the best ones. So the idea was that we decided, right, we'll come up with a theoretical situation where there's a zombie apocalypse and how we would survive it.
That's fair. I
Yeah.
never thought about doing that, so that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Just theoretical episodes.
Yeah, we both just thought of well. I fully wrote mine out. I wrote mine out as an actual story, and Niall calls Billy. He literally made it up on the spot, which was quite impressive, to be fair. So I'll give him his due on that one.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it was good. It was funny. Right then, mate. So where did your interest into ghosts, aliens, all that stuff? Where does it start for you? Was it when you were a kid, or was it something you got into as you got older?
Definitely something that happened when I was a kid, and it wasn't by choice. So it all starts, the whole paranormal stuff starts for me when I was probably around 5 to 6 years old. So as I shared with you before we started recording, I was born and raised in New York. I lived in the Bronx for the longest time, for about 9 years of my life, before we moved to Queens and moved into a haunted house, which I'll share later on in the show. So my first experience with it is I'm about 5, 6 years old. Um, my parents and I and my younger sister, who was a baby at a time, we lived in an apartment in the Bronx. And for people that, any of your listeners that are New Yorkers and live in an apartment, there's usually a small kitchen, pretty big living room, and some of them have like one big ass bedroom, or some of them, if they're lucky, they have multiple bedrooms. But we were the ones that had just one big ass bedroom, so we all had to share that sleeping space. So when you walked into the bedroom, straight ahead was the window with the fire escape and everything. To the right is where we set up our beds, and to the left is where we had the dresser and the vanity. So my bed was on the far right, up against the wall. I think it's like, what was it, right up against the wall. And when I would get up and look to my right, I could see like the window was right here, and I could see my parents' vanity and the TV and the dresser and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, about 5, 6 years old, I get up probably 2 in the morning. I'm just ballparking. And I look over to my parents' vanity area, and there's like 5 shadowy figures that remind me of the seven dwarves. I couldn't make out features, but I knew they were there. So I look over and I'm like a little kid, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, for some god awful reason, I started screaming at them, and I said, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here. You need to get out of here." And I'm just yelling at them at the top of my lungs. And then my mom wakes up and she yells at me in Spanish, and she like reprimands me. She's like, "Your sister's sleeping. What are you doing? Your dad, you're going to wake up your dad. He has to get up early to go to work. Go back to bed." Like there's nothing there. So as she's reprimanding me, I'm looking right at her, and then I turn and they're gone.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, that's fine. So go back to bed. Don't think anything of it. Fast forward to 2020, 2023. So in 2023, I went down with my wife. We went down to visit my parents that live in Florida. And, excuse me. So we went to Florida, and for some reason, this topic came up again. And I asked my mom, I was like, "Hey, mom, do you remember when I was around 5 years old that I had this, like, I woke up in the night and I started yelling at these little people or whatever they are. We'll call them duendes because that's what I think that they are."
Mm.
And she's like, "Yeah, I do. I do remember that." And I was like, "Was that the only time?" She's like, "No, that wasn't the only time." She's like, "You used to wake up screaming, saying that they were going to get you. And I would have to lay in bed with you until you fell asleep and console you." And I was like, "Mom, how many times has this happened?" She's probably like 2, 3 more times, aside from
Yeah.
when you woke up and yelled at them. And this was the only like weird thing that happened to me in the Bronx. So like I don't really remember anything else weird happening. The most of my memories from the Bronx as a kid was like going to the store with my grandparents, running outside, playing and stuff like that. But that particular experience really stuck with me for that you're talking about. This would be 31 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, pushing 31 years. So if my sister was just born, that would have been like 1995 to 96. So it's crazy that I can still see in my head like the silhouette of these things,
Mm.
and they're just standing there. They're not doing anything, but they were just standing there. I don't know what they wanted, but it's one of those weird things, man. Like I literally got pissed off. I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Which is interesting because at first my mom said you were scared. But I wonder, like, I wonder what like changed in me as a 5 year old. You know, you wake up and you get pissed off, and it's like, "Why the fuck are you here? Like, get the hell out," type
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
thing.
Mm.
So that's where it all started.
Yeah. That is weird. That's my little catchphrase, by the way. I'll probably say that about another 10 times. Uh, I've only recently heard about duendes as well, so I have a little bit of an idea about what they are. But yeah, that's bizarre. So the other times, like I say, when your mum had to, like you say, console you and help you go to sleep, was that before that or after?
That was before that.
That was before, right? I was going to say, because
Yes.
then that'd be even weirder then if you couldn't remember. That would be
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really bizarre.
Yeah. I don't remember the times I was afraid, but I remember that one particular time. It sticks in my head
Mm,
vividly of when I just like finally had enough and I was like, fuck this.
yeah. Maybe it's one of those, because if I remember rightly from what I've been told, like duendes, they do go for like little kids, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
So maybe you were at an age then where you were too old for them, maybe, and that was why you were able to, like, tell them to fuck off.
Yeah. Tell them to fuck
Maybe,
off.
yeah, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Cause my sister would have been a newborn
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Or,
So
or to be really dark about it, maybe they were coming for your sister.
maybe. Who
Yeah,
knows? That
exactly.
is a possible. I didn't think about that until you just brought it up
Yeah, I
because
mean,
I thought it was for me. Oh shit! Fuck! Why did they do it? Like, I'm like, I'm kidding.
but yeah, that is definitely a strange one. I mean, I've had like shadow figures and stuff when I've woke up, but never multiple. So
Yeah,
that's like I say, I've not heard. Not many people have told me stuff like that either. So that's a new one to go on my list of weird things.
yeah, and it's like I don't see the only reason I give any type of credence to it is because my mom corroborated the story multiple times.
Mm,
If it was just a one-time thing, like even now, I'd probably be like, okay, maybe I had a really vivid nightmare
yeah,
that where I thought I
yeah,
was doing that and maybe I did scream in my sleep or something
mm,
like that. Because I've had those nightmares where I have screamed in my sleep and they were very vivid and they felt very real. And my wife would wake me up and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, and I'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
mm,
And um, they don't happen as frequently now, but they
yeah,
did, which I could share later. Go into it a little bit. This weird ass dream that I had ever since I started the podcast 3 years ago, like weird shit started happening even more so than
mm,
I have in the past. Excuse me. But aside from that, nothing else really happened in the Bronx. Um, we fast forward to about like 98 to 99, right? And my parents and my aunt and uncle, they pool their money together. They buy this two-family home in Queens. There's a flat on the downstairs and there's one on the upstairs, right? So we lived upstairs, they lived downstairs. So we move into the house, and shortly after moving in, my aunt comes to babysit my sister because my mom has to go to work. So here's the thing, Liam. When I share these stories, it's very hard for them to come out.
right.
And the reason I say that, it's because it's like something like how I just paused right there. Like it felt like something was like physically trying to stop me
Mm,
from sharing these stories. And I've shared these stories like fucking 1,000 times over.
yeah,
But it wasn't until I went on to, if you ever heard of the podcast called Ghost Gossip with
yeah, yeah,
Ashley.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
She's a legend.
she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I went on her show and like things got weird, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like weird, like in the sense that she had this little tablet thing where words would pop up that were directly correlated to what I'm talking to, and the shit wasn't connected to any type of data server or Wi-Fi or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
ever since then, it's been like really difficult for me
What they call
to,
a hexcom device.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So so we ended up moving. My one day my mom has to go to work. She can't take my sister with her because she's probably 4 years old at the time, I would
Mm,
say, around there, 99 to 2000. Um, and my mom and her sisters can see things and they can all feel things. And so my mom goes to work, she comes back, and my aunt tells her, "You have visitors in this home." And my mom is like, "What do you mean? Did somebody come by looking for me? Like did the neighbor come by? Like, do I need to call somebody, to call them back or something like that?" And my aunt goes, "No, you have visitors in this home." And my mom's like, "Oh, that's what you mean." So there's like the first inclination that there's something not right here.
Mm.
So something that impacted me directly and my cousin at the same time is when we moved in, like, when you move into a new place, like things are scattered, not everything's set up correctly.
Yeah.
So I would say within like the first month or so of moving in, my aunt and uncle had this like stereo system. It was like that black Sony stereo system where you had the cassette player at the bottom, then you had the CD player, and then it had the record player on top. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about from back in the day. So they had that set up like in their living room, just on the ground. And around that time, like, all the rap artists were out and we listened to Busta Rhymes, DMX, Rough Riders, all that stuff. So there were times where me and my cousin would be hanging out, we'd be playing PlayStation, radio wouldn't be on, and it would just turn on by itself at full blast. And when that happens, you're like, oh shit, something electrical, right?
Yeah.
So we just turn it off, leave it alone. Then it happens again in another instance. And it's like, what the hell? You don't really think about it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just turn it off. Maybe it's old. You're talking about something that they probably had since the late 80s, and it's now like 1999, 2000
Mm.
when this stuff is happening. So, at a certain point, we get pissed off at it and we unplug the fucking thing. We go upstairs, and I'm sure you can guess what happened next.
Turn back on.
It fucking turned back on by itself, unplugged. At that point, my aunt and uncle scrap it. They get a brand new stereo system, and randomly throughout the day, that fucking thing would just turn on by itself full blast. And if you were home alone, that shit would scare the ever living shit out of you.
Yeah, I can
That
imagine.
happened to me a couple times. And I
Mhm.
would go downstairs and look around, there'd be nobody home, and I'd fucking turn it off, go back to doing whatever I'm doing. And that's like the first set of things that started happening. So it got progressively worse as time went on. So another thing that would happen to us in there, Liam, we would hear footsteps in the attic, and at night you would hear footsteps walking through the house proper.
Mm.
And when I say like footsteps in the attic, you're talking about like boots. You would hear like just stomping
Yeah.
back and forth because the makeup of that attic was one of those where you go in and it's like another room in itself. Like you could stand up and hang out there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So we would hear thump, 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 thump back and forth. And this isn't only at night. You're talking about this happens in the middle of the day. Like
Mm.
it's bright and sunny outside. The sun is shining. It's not a thunderstorm, nothing. So I would hear it. And the crazy thing is, like, my parents would hear it at the same time. My sister would hear it. And we'd all stop and look up. And it's like, what is going on there? And then, like, the explanation they came up with at the time was like, oh, it's pigeons and squirrels making noise upstairs. And right?
Some big fucking pigeons.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, it's New York. Maybe they have Timberland boots on. I don't fucking know. It's it's one of those things. So, I can understand why they would make that type of excuse, like, oh, it's just pigeons and squirrels,
Mm.
because one, we just bought the fucking house. We put a lot of money into it. We can't fucking leave.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where the adults in the house, I don't want to say they didn't believe us, because the older I've gotten and when I started the show, my parents have been very supportive. My aunt has been very supportive and my cousin and stuff like that. And they've all corroborated like everything that I've gone through, and they're like, yeah, there was something in there, but at the time you couldn't just leave.
Yeah.
So we
Plus,
would hear the
like with stuff like that, and like you say with the radio, I mean, obviously the fact that you've unplugged the radio and it still turned itself on, then that like you can't explain that one. It doesn't even you genuinely can't even come up with a logical explanation for that. But and for someone who used to be very skeptical, like noises in a loft, in an attic and stuff, like my go-to would have always been, like you say, like, oh, maybe there's an animal in there. It's
right.
floorboards creaking and stuff. But again, like I say, from someone who used to be skeptical, who is now experienced hearing footsteps, there is a big difference.
Right.
Yeah,
100%.
big difference.
Yeah, like if you were to put on hiking boots right now and walk across a wooden floor,
Yeah,
that's exactly what it would sound like.
Mm.
In the middle of the fucking day.
yeah,
And one of my eldest aunt, my dad's sister, she's like the eldest out of all of them. She used to stay with us, and she would do like babysitting gigs, and people would come over, she'd watch the babies and stuff like that. And sometimes like my sister would be with her, like if she was, I think, like around 4 years old, wasn't going to school yet, she'd hear stuff all the time. She'd hear the footsteps, she'd hear the banging, all this shit, man. And when I went to New York last summer, because one of my very close uncles had passed away, I ended up staying with her and just talked to her about that stuff. And she laughs about it now, but she's like, yeah, when I was by myself, I would hear people calling my name. I would hear noises all the time, banging, footsteps, the whole nine. And you're talking about a lady in her mid-50s, like just being harassed incessantly by whatever was there. So we would hear the footsteps, and then this is where like the knocks started coming in. So this was probably, I don't know, maybe what I vividly remember, I was probably like around 11 or 12 years old, right? And anytime my dad would come home from work, he would get home like around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And his thing is he would put on the nightly news. He would put on, over here was fucking NBC News with Tom Brokaw and all this other shit that he would force us to watch that we had no interest in watching as kids. So to be sitting in the living room with him, and our front door would be closed. And around like 6:30 every fucking night, like clockwork, you would hear, I'd get my little ass up, go to the door, open it, look around in the hallway, nobody there. My dad would be like, who is it? There's nobody there, Dad. You sure? Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Go sit back down. Next couple nights, happens again. I open the door, nobody there. He doesn't believe me.
So he's hearing the knocking as well.
Oh, yes. Everybody's hearing it. We're all hearing it.
So what does he think? What does he think's happening? So like, does he think
he thought it was my cousin dicking around, because my cousin was my cousin's like 5 years older than me. So when I was like 11, 12, he was like 16, 17 years old. Yeah. So he thought it was just my cousin being an asshole, like knocking the door, running down the stairs and heading back to their flat.
Yeah.
But the time I vividly remember this happening, like he knocked whatever it was, knocked on the door again. I was going to go open it. He's like, no, I'm going to go open it. So he opens the door, looks around, nobody in the hallway, walks down the staircase, goes to the door to my aunt and uncle and cousin's flat. It's pitch black. The door is locked. There's nobody there. My grandparents stayed in the basement with us. They're like in their 70s, dude. They can't fucking do that shit. They can't. My grandfather like walked with a cane, and he like waddled with a cane. It took him like 10 minutes to get from the living room to the bathroom. Like that's how slow he walked. And my grandmother like took forever to walk up and down the stairs. So it wasn't them.
Mm.
So he finally realized that like there's nobody here doing this shit.
Mm.
Comes back upstairs, does not say a fucking word, sits back down, and just keeps watching the news. So it's one of those things. It's like something happened, right? He can't explain it. My parents can't explain it. So it
Mm.
was one of those things, okay, we're just going to ignore it.
Mm.
We're not going to talk about it. And then I would just leave it alone.
So
So
did that ever happen and you just completely ignored it, like didn't answer the door?
a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking then, I was wondering if you had done that, then if it, I don't know, if it'd carry on doing it until you went to the door, whether it was just like really trying to, I don't know,
Yeah.
take the piss, really.
Right. Yeah. No, it wasn't that type of thing where like if we didn't answer, it would just keep like banging like movies and stuff
Mm.
like that. No, absolutely not. It was just it was more so that it was annoying, I would
Mm.
say, cuz
Yeah.
like I would have to get up and go and look and, expend the energy and waste my time. So it's one of those things where it just got frustrating as a kid. Like very early on, it would be frustrating. I would feel uncomfortable. And I wouldn't say I was scared yet because I really didn't understand what was going on.
Mm.
But when it came towards like bedtime, that's when this shit would amplify. And when I say it amplified, we're talking about like the footsteps
Mm.
in the like live in our living space proper.
Yeah.
So while we were awake, which was really weird, it wouldn't be like you would hear the footsteps like in the apartment or whatever. You would hear like the knocks on the door, you would hear the footsteps in the attic, but at night we would hear the footsteps start all the way at one side of the house, walk through the front end of the living room, through the living room, to the dining room, to the kitchen, turn back around all fucking night. Just footsteps walking back and forth at night. My mom is a very light sleeper. So she would get up at night and she would check it.
Mm.
And she would tell my dad, like, I'm hearing footsteps at night and I'm getting up because we have two kids to make sure there's nobody fucking trying to burgle the house? So he didn't really believe her at the time. And then she told me that one night the footsteps were like pretty loud. They were like to the point where they were stomping. And she was going to get up to go, but he was awake. She didn't know
Right.
he was awake. He's like, "No, I'm going to go." So he like got up and he had like this wooden bat and he took it with him. He hears the footsteps. He goes into the living room and he does something that you're not supposed to do. He starts yelling and screaming at it, saying like,
Right.
"Leave my fucking family alone, like get the fuck out of here." Just agitating it. Cause at
Mm.
that point, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, you're fucking exhausted, you're hearing these footsteps, you don't know what's going on, and you're just at the end of your rope, right? So he does that. And that's kind of like, to me, I think that's the moment where like he couldn't ignore it anymore. It's like, okay, you have to deal with this in some sort of fashion. And a funny I don't want to say it's a funny story, but what happened to me in particular, I remember one night I woke up like around 1 or 2 in the morning, right? And I really had to go take a piss. I always slept with my bedroom door closed. Just made me comfortable. My wife, she likes to sleep with the bedroom door open. I hate it, but I
No,
deal
couldn't
with
do
it.
that.
No, I plus we have cats, so if we have the door closed, they'll like fucking
Same.
claw at the thing. So one night I woke up, I was probably around 14 years old. So this is probably like 2004, right? And it's crazy to think that this was 22 years ago. Like, it's fucking nuts. So I get up, I'm like, okay, I gotta pee. I walk to my door. I stick my hand out to go touch the doorknob, and I hear this low, guttural growl on the other side of that door. If you ever watch Beauty and the Beast and you know where he like fights off the wolves and shit and he like growls at them and stuff,
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like, but lower.
Mm.
I I probably stood there and froze for maybe 10 seconds before I went and got back in my bed. Those 10 seconds felt like fucking 10 hours.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was so scared. So like I just stepped back pedaled to my bed, just laid there till the sun came up. And when I heard my parents getting up to get ready to go to work, that was like, okay, I'm in the clear. I got to go take a piss. I'm going to go do what I need to do. My cousin has a similar story, except he did not hear a growl.
Before you go into that, I need you're talking. Obviously, we're talking about weird stuff happening, and you were talking about when you were on Ashley's show, like weird stuff happened.
Yeah.
There's times when I do this when weird stuff happens, and something weird is happening now, and I don't know if you've noticed that I keep looking off to the left.
Yeah, I
So,
do.
I mean, it's 10:15 here, but it's 20 degrees. I don't know what that is for you. It's not windy at all,
Yeah.
and I keep getting goosebumps up my left leg all the time. And so the way I've got this set up, and this is probably going to be a bit annoying for audio listeners, but more reason for you to go over to the YouTube channel and watch. So I've got another podcast, like a microphone stand that
Yeah.
has my Michael Myers mask sat on it,
Uh-huh.
and it's got these two, obviously, so you can get your head into it.
Yeah.
And these two flaps just keep going, like literally, and I'm not joking, like that much.
You don't have a
moving.
fan on or
There's
nothing?
no fan or anything. It's not windy
no-
outside, and
Oh,
these like
shit.
both of these bit of this mask just keep going like this while it's sat here. And
I am
I
sorry.
don't know if I want to move it or if I want to leave it there and see if it keeps happening or what. But it is very, very weird.
If
And I
you're
just keep
feeling
getting
weirded out, we could take a breather, man.
No, it's fine. It's weird. I kind of like it, like you said. Like it's like Tommy's little catchphrase that he has when he says, "When you look into the paranormal, it looks back and stuff." Because, like you said, since doing your show, more weird stuff happens. The more you look into stuff and the more you talk about stuff, and it is
Yeah.
really, really weird. It's still doing it.
It's still doing it?
It's just
There's
doing
got
it
to be
then.
a draft or something.
Is it,
Can you turn
the?
is your camera detachable? Can you show it to
No,
me?
it's literally on the.
Oh,
What
shit.
I'll do is I'll set my phone up and then I can put it in the video episode of it, and I'm just gonna let this record for a bit and see what it does. Right. So go on then. What did your cousin hear or see or what?
Okay. So, like, you know, some of those old school doors where you could see under the threshold
Yeah.
of the door? Yeah. So that's what the doors in this place was like, especially his. So he woke up like around 2 in the morning. Is it still doing it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So he wakes up around 2 o'clock in the morning. He has to use the bathroom, right? And he can hear his parents snoring. It's just them three that live down there. He wakes up, he sits up in bed. He wants to go use the bathroom, but he sees this fucking light go from, so like if you think of like his bedroom door, you go into the hallway, immediately to the right, to the far right is the bathroom door, and immediately to the left, stepping out of his room, is the door that goes down into the basement. This
Right.
light is going from the bathroom to the basement, back and forth, back and forth. Fuck, I got goosebumps. He sat there and watched this thing for 4 hours until the sun came up and his parents started to get up to get ready for work.
That's well. So he could see the light under the door just going from one side to the other, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
And like no light was on in the house.
Mm.
No light was on in the house, which is crazy.
That's not as scary as what I thought you were going to say. I genuinely thought you were going to say saw like 2 footsteps stood outside his door.
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to share that that I come from a very like mixed family. Like when it comes to like religion. Some people are Hindu, some people are Muslim, some people Catholic, some by extension are Jewish and stuff like that. So growing up, like it was like I call it a Crayola box. We everybody respected each other's beliefs, whatever.
Yeah.
But my dad was a Hindu for the longest time, partially because of my grandmother, while she was alive. So like he would have these like Hindu prayers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like my uncle would do like Muslim prayers, whatever. Now that I think back on it, I'm like, why did they do that yearly? Like, this doesn't make any sense. But now that I think back on it, I'm like, okay, now it does. Because when that would happen, excuse me, the whatever activity would taper off for like a couple weeks.
Mm.
And then it would just pick back up again. There was so what I'm about to share is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen and unexplainable things I've ever seen in that house. And the reason I say that is because it not only involves me, it happened in the middle of the day. It involves my sister. It involves my aunt, who I mentioned earlier, and it involves my mom. So we all witnessed this, and one person was the target of it. So, as I mentioned, like the upstairs, like when you walk into the apartment, like if you picture it this way, the door is kind of like diagonal, I guess. You walk in, immediately is the dining room.
Yeah.
From the dining room, if you turn left, it's the living room.
Mm-hmm.
If you go right from the dining room, there's a doorway with like a solid, heavy wooden door that does not move until you physically move it.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes you into the kitchen. When you go into the kitchen, straight ahead, just going from doorway to doorway, is a little like squarish type of hallway. And straight ahead in that hallway, if you go further down a few feet, is the bedroom door to my parents' room and to my room. And if you stand in the middle of that little squarish hallway, to the right of you would be a closet door, and immediately to the left of you would be the door to the bathroom, right? The distance between the bathroom door and the closet door, probably 7 to 8 feet,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. It wasn't very big. So my mom and I, we're in the kitchen. We're standing in the threshold facing that little hallway so we can see the bedroom doors. My sister is standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and my aunt is walking out of my parents' bedroom. So she walks out the bedroom, walks into that little hallway, turns, goes to the bathroom door, opens up the door, and as she opens up the door to step foot inside, she gets violently shoved into the closet door. And when I say violently shoved, like when you push someone like in their chest and their arms go out like that, it was Liam, it was like this, and she was a good 1.5 feet off the ground.
Fucking hell.
And this is a lady in her like mid to late 50s. She could have been severely fucking hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
There was no draft. There was no wind. No windows were open. We all stood there. We saw this happen. What's funny is when I was in New York this past summer, I asked her about it because I was like, maybe I fucking imagined it. She busted out laughing. She's like, oh, when the fucking ghost threw me into the closet door. Yeah, I remember that.
I've got goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man, where I can't fucking like what happened there? I saw it. My mom saw
There's
it.
no logical explanation to that.
No. And like we're all in shock for a few seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, just to like calm things down, she's like, oh, maybe the ghost had to go use the bathroom. And we just bust out laughing, and you take it from there. So that's one of the things that kind of like just like was like forever burned, and that image is her like this off the
Yeah, I can
ground.
imagine.
If I could take a snapshot and put it on a fucking Polaroid, I wish I could.
Yeah, that's
Maybe Elon Musk could come up with something and
probably
right?
That's well, the only way I can put that's pure horror movie stuff. That is.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
Yeah.
literally Paranormal Activity vibes.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, that now, like I'm in my mid-30s. I'm 35. And I've been doing the show for about 3.5 years now. And my family is now more open to talking about things that happen there. Like people, like I've had comments on TikTok of like, oh, like share this thing, share that thing.
Yeah.
And I do. And sometimes it's to my own detriment because like you said, you just get those goosebumps. You feel like these things know that you're talking about it. So you just have to be very careful when you do this. I mean, people call me, some people might not take it seriously, might not believe us. They're like, because I got holy water and I have like exercise holy oil and stuff like that. And, you just take measures to protect yourself when you talk about this stuff. And I'll share like at the end of the show, I'll share more of like what happened with Ashley on her show and afterward. Because it was pretty fucking weird. But so those are most of my tales, but I want to pivot to my sister real quick.
Yeah.
Because my sister, she's 5 years younger than me. So she was a young child for the most of the time we lived in that house. And when she was probably maybe from age 5 to like 7 or so, she had an imaginary friend. And this imaginary friend, his name was Andy, as she said. And he wore like a 1920s like sailor suit type of outfit. If you want to think of like a sailor suit, just think of like something Robert the Doll would wear, right?
Yeah.
And she would be like playing with this thing all over the house with her toys and everything like that. And my mom didn't like it. It creeped her out. It creeped me out. But she chalked it up to like a little girl just having an imaginary friend. Where it kind of took a turn to the weird is she would always walk around the house with Andy. So there was this one time that it was my mom, my sister, my grandmother, and I in New York City. Everything is in walkable distance. So we were going to go to the supermarket. We were going to get something to make for dinner, right? So we all leave the house, and my sister like would sometimes walk around like she was holding somebody's hand. And then my mom noticed that she wasn't doing that once we got to a certain point at the end of the street. And she asked her like, "Oh, is Andy coming with us?" And then that's when my sister was like, "No, he isn't allowed to go past the street." So he went back to the house. His mom doesn't let him do that. And it was like,
why does that make it creepier?
right?
I know, like now knowing that it's like. So does that mean it was a little kid then? Why a little kid ghost scarier?
Maybe a kid ghost, maybe something more. And you think like an imaginary friend, you think it's harmless, right? Just, kid bullshitting, whatever. That's easy to make up because you can't prove whether that is paranormal or it's their imagination.
Yeah.
But here's where I lean towards more of the weirder paranormal type of thing, right? Because fast forward to August of 2004, and my grandfather passes away. And like when a loved one passes away, some communities will all come to like the loved one's house and will keep wake, right? And people will stay there all night, whatever,
Yeah.
coffee, drinks, food. So our family did that, and we were all downstairs. Since it was the summertime, it was pretty hot out, so most people were either downstairs at my aunt's flat or were outside in the garage or in the backyard, um, hanging out. My sister and my cousin, who are around about the same age, my sister's a year older than her. My sister would always have a shit ton of Barbies and Bratz dolls and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it was like around 10 o'clock at night, and my sister and my cousin decided they wanted to go get these dolls. So around about 2004, I would say my sister's about 9 years old. Um, Not really into the imaginary friend stuff anymore. She's more focused on school, toys, friends, the whole nine. So they go upstairs to our flat to get the toys. They open the door. They're in the dining room. They turn, and she says, like, in the doorway of the kitchen is Andy. And my cousin saw this too, because I did a podcast with my cousin, and she shared the same story and described the same fucking thing. Is Andy standing there like this with an angry, sad look on his face, just
So
staring at them.
they both saw him.
They both fucking saw it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. So they screamed and they ran back downstairs. They said that when they screamed, I came and like met them halfway up the stairs, but I don't remember that. So I can't really, if I did that, great. If I didn't, I don't remember. Cause that's a period of my life where, I lost my grandfather and I lost my cousin like in a very short span within like a month of each other. And it was just, it wasn't a fun time. Um, yeah. So they saw that. And we fast forward to what I kind of dub as my final straw, right? I didn't share this earlier, but the entire time living there, I would hear voices call my name. And it wasn't like random voices. It was distinctly like in my parents' voice, my sister's voice, my aunt's voice, my uncle's voice. There were a couple times where I would hear a voice call my name and my mom would hear it too. And it's at that point my mom would tell me like, don't answer that because that's the dead calling you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So you fast forward to like either 2006 or 2007, right? And I'm in high school, I'm an upperclassman. And once you get to a certain level, I don't know what's the equivalent for you guys over there in the UK, like what your high school is called, like secondary school or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was close to ending high school. And because of that schedule, like being an upperclassman, we got out, like I would go in at 7 o'clock and I'd be done at like 11 and I'd be back home by like 11:30 noon. So around that time, like 2006, like the new Xbox came out, Call of Duty, all that shit, right?
All
So I'm in
important
my
things.
room. Yeah, playing Halo, all that. I'm in my room. I'm just playing on my Xbox. And I hear my mom's voice, Chris, very loudly. Chris. I'm like, the fuck? What's going on here? So I ignore it. I hear it a second time. Chris. I'm like, is my mom home? I thought she was at work. So I pick up my cell phone. I had one of those like Moto Razr phones, if you remember those.
Yeah.
And I called my mom, and my mom worked as a nanny in Manhattan, as I said earlier. And she picks up the phone, and I hear like the noise of the city in the background. You hear the wind, the honking of the taxi, the yellow taxis, everything.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on?" I'm like, "I guess. I just wanted to make sure like you weren't home because I heard you call my name and I just wanted to make sure that you were at work." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm at work. I'm going to be home by 2 o'clock, whatever. So just, don't answer it. I told you what to do. Just ignore it. Just, stay in your room, do whatever." Right. So I hang up the phone. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I'm sitting there. I go back to playing whatever I was playing, like either Call of Duty or Halo or something, right? I hear the voice again. "Chris." Second, another time. "Chris." And remember when I told you that in the dining room we had to the kitchen, there was a door,
Yeah.
a heavy wooden door. My mom would close that when she was cooking to keep like some of the smell to go out the rest of the house, to prevent
Mhm.
it from going to the rest of the house. That door was wide open. It is cold outside. My dad liked to plastic over the windows for insulation purposes. There's no draft, there's no wind, there's nothing. This door is really fucking heavy, so you cannot move it with wind. You have to physically move the door. This door is wide open. Liam, when I ignored it that other time, all I hear was boom. It fucking slammed itself shut. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck? So I closed my door. I sat in my bed and just waited until my parents got home. And it was at that point I told my parents, I don't want to fucking live here anymore.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think I'd have just left there and then. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait outside until somebody else gets home.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You say that.
Mm,
Um, when I talked to Doug Bradley, Pinhead, I
mm,
shared the same story with him. He's like, I would have fucking left. I don't know how you stayed in that house. I
yeah.
would have went for a walk or something like that.
Mm,
Because I was just so dumbfounded and shocked. I like didn't know what to do. I'm like 16, 17 years old. Like it's not a physical threat that I can see. So
yeah.
I can't square up to something that's invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Like throughout my life, my teen years living in New York, I've had a knife pulled on me twice. I got chased by a gang. All of that shit does not top the level of scary that I encountered that day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Considering I was by myself
Mm,
in that house,
yeah.
it was fucking insane. So we
Yeah.
ended up moving, which which was perfect.
Mm,
But I have a couple of other stories before I get to the kind of like the climax before we moved
yeah.
that involved my mom.
Mm. So
So
before you go into that, then, so I have a fun question that I sometimes like to ask, and
yeah, yeah.
more so when people, because I've experienced mimics as well, which I can tell you about another time. So this is a question I like to ask. So you've mentioned your wife, so I'll use your wife as the example. So uh, do you have an upstairs in your house?
No, we have just one floor, but we do have the game room down here, which I recorded.
Right.
But
So
our old house used to have an upstairs.
right. So imagine you're in your old house.
Yep,
You're upstairs. You hear your wife shout your name.
yep.
Well, you're walking down the stairs, and then halfway down the stairs, you hear your wife's voice again, but from upstairs saying, "Don't go down. I heard it as well." What do you do?
I'm sitting in the middle of the steps.
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
not fucking moving.
Yeah. I remember I got asked that question once, and I just said, "What I'll do is just sit down on the stairs and cry."
Yeah. If that ever happened and I hear, can you get off your fucking phone and come up here? Then I know that's my wife. That's what I know that would be the missus, Man, but
Uh,
yeah, dude, is the mask still doing that shit?
yeah, I've got it on video. So, like I say, I'll make a little clip for the Instagram page and stuff and TikTok and what have you. But like, I'll try and I'll try and I'll overlay it in the video.
You sure there's no fan or nothing?
Absolutely nothing. The only thing I have in here is a heater, which I definitely don't need on now because, like I say, we're literally in the middle of a fucking heat wave. It's 22:11 at night and it's 20 degrees Celsius. So, like I say, I mean, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. There's no breeze. There's no wind. It's not cold. And like I say, I'm only getting the goosebumps though up the left side of my leg, which is the
Oh,
one where the like closest to the fucking mask thing.
oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
weird. I'm not trying to send anything to you, I promise. 20 degrees, that's 68 for us. Dude, that's like jogging weather for me.
Yeah, for us, this is a fucking heat wave.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like I say, it is 22:11 at night. Earlier today it was like 30 degrees Celsius. So,
yeah, yeah.
and I work in a fucking kitchen, so I've been dying today.
Do you guys get bad high like humidity, like very high humidity with your heat wave?
Sometimes we just say muggy.
Muggy? Yeah,
Yeah.
muggy weather. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because where I'm at, sometimes like in the wintertime, sometimes we'll get the cold front from Canada and it's just
Mm,
absolutely terrible.
mm,
And the heat sometimes will be like, if you ever been to the south of the United States, it'll be like that.
mm,
It's just miserable. Like when I went to Kentucky for a wedding,
mm.
you would just go outside and it felt like a wave of water, just
Yeah.
moisture just hits your face.
Mm,
Yeah, so it's nuts. But yeah, so that happened. Told my parents I didn't want to live there, and they kind of like warp speed their search for a home. They're like, okay, we're gonna get out of here. The good thing is when we did leave, um, everything was fine afterward.
mm.
So like no issues there whatsoever. But I do want to share some other stories that I had from a few other people, including like my sister and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll share this story from my aunt, which I've asked her before if she was comfortable with me sharing it. She's like, yeah, go ahead. I think like people need to know. So when they purchased the house, they purchased it like the person that owned the house, they died, and the kids just wanted to get rid of it.
Is this the haunted house or the new house?
Yeah, the haunted house.
Right, right,
The
yeah,
haunted house, yeah. So that back in, like, '99 when my
yeah.
parents and my aunt first purchased a home. So, they bought it, the kids just wanted nothing to do with it, they sold it at it as is,
Mm,
so we had to clear everything out, like, we had to get a dumpster and, like, throw
mm,
shit away and all that stuff. Um, my aunt did something which I don't agree with. She kept some of the furniture. She kept some of the, like, the dining room furniture and the cabinet and stuff like that, and
mm,
there was a shit ton of stuff in the attic that was left over that they took a while to, like, completely get rid of.
mm.
So, when they're in the process of, like, cleaning out and moving in, across the street, there were some neighbors. There were a couple of old German ladies. They were like probably in their mid 80s. And they told my aunt, like, oh, hey, welcome her to the neighborhood. Like, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. We noticed you bought that house. You're going to move in. We would recommend that you do a cleansing before you move in and after you move in. So my aunt's like, okay, I don't know if she did it or not.
Mm.
But they said that the people that lived there were involved with some weird stuff. They would do weird things. My aunt, and I can't corroborate this story. So to me, I take it with a teaspoon of salt, and I can't say whether it's true or not. So I don't personally believe it. Do I believe that the people there were probably interested in some weird occult shit? Probably. But the claim that they, like, I don't know, tortured a teenage girl there, I can't
Fuck.
confirm or deny that. Like, I tried to look through Google and do research and stuff like that for back in the day, newspapers and stuff of all that. I can't corroborate that story. But what makes it creepier is when they finally got to cleaning out the attic, they found World War II memorabilia.
Oh,
You know where
fucking
this is
hell.
going.
Was it all Nazi shit?
Yes.
Oh, fucking
They
hell.
found a German Bible and they found an SS uniform. So we don't know if the person that lived there was like a sympathizer and into collecting this shit, or if
Either way, it's weird.
it's weird. Yeah.
Either way, it's weird.
Yeah. So we don't know if there's like a direct correlation between that shit being in there and the negativity, or something of that sort, or something with the occult going on. Because whatever was in there, man, I talked to another person that you should probably have on your show is JJ from Southern Demonology. He hosts the Southern Demonology podcast. When I went on his show and talked about it, I was like, dude, what do you think? Because I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
And he's like, it sounds like the infernal to me. It sounds something very powerful, something more of demonic. And I'm very hesitant to label things as demons because I don't think every fucking paranormal place you go to investigate has a demon, or every house has a demon.
Yeah.
It's more than likely that it's just a pissed off, confused spirit because you're in their space and they don't know what's going on.
Or just someone who was very angry when they were alive anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly that. And the only reason I lean towards more of like the infernal side is because of the physical touch that I saw.
Yeah.
Like someone actually getting physically harmed and moved. You know, that type of stuff. That's where it's like, okay, this is something really strong if you have the ability to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You mentioned obviously that there's a lot of mixed religions in your family. Obviously, it was your aunt that it happened to. Was she religious at all?
Yes. Yes, she was.
What religion?
She was a Christian.
Right.
Well,
she
is. She is.
Yeah. I was thinking then. I was thinking obviously Nazi stuff, angry spirits. You mentioned Jewish. I'm like, that would be the easy go-to to think of, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's a group of like people that are from the Caribbean, so they're not. My mom is like my Dominican side. Some of them are like brown like me. Some of them are as like white as you. So it just, it's a really a Crayola box. But when you have a group of, I guess I could see your point. Like if it's an angry spirit, somebody that was very prejudiced from its time period, like a group of brown people moving into their fucking house, they wouldn't be happy about that. I can see that perspective too.
And I suppose Nazis, they were just they were dicks anyway.
Dickheads, yeah.
It didn't really matter what color you were. They were still dickheads.
Yeah, if you weren't one of them, you were just
exactly
nothing. You weren't a human. But yeah, so like my aunt shared that story with me about 3 years ago, and I'm like, why didn't you tell me before? She's like, because I didn't think anybody would believe me. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So she's like, if you want to share that, you can. So with the same aunt, fast forward a few years to like the mid 2000s, so maybe 2005 or so, right? And it's the summertime, and the good thing about my dog just scared the fuck out of me. Odie, what are you doing? You little shit. Come here, bud. Come here. Come. Come say hello. Come. Come on. Come here. There he is. You scared me, bud. All right. I'm almost done. I'll see you in a little bit. Go upstairs.
I've lost count how many times my fucking cat has scared the shit out of me in here by jumping on the roof or climbing up the walls, and I'm just like, I've got a really good clip on my Instagram page of when I was mid sentence and there's like a window in the shed here, and the cat fucking ran up the wall where the window was, and I absolutely fucking shit myself.
Yeah, that yesterday I was doing a recording One of my cats scared the crap out of me, and now he just did it because you get so focused, and you're just focusing on that.
And I believe cats do it on purpose.
Yeah, they're assholes. They really are. They really are. My one cat, she's a dick. She's evil. But yeah, so my aunt, like, you fast forward summertime, we're not home. The family, which was great, lived in like a 5-block radius of each other. So we're all pretty close to one another.
Mm.
So we went over to our cousin's house for a barbecue. And this is like a Saturday. It's the middle of summer. It's the middle of the day. And she's said that she was sitting in her living room watching TV, and she just heard somebody running in our place upstairs, running back and forth. So she's like, what the fuck is going on? So she calls our landline. It rings, it rings, it rings. It goes to the answering machine, and no one's home. So it's like, okay. She hears the running and the footsteps back and forth, right? This time, she goes up the stairs, knocks on the door. She knocks on the door, it stops. Nobody answers. So she's like, what the fuck is going on? So she said she went back downstairs. She picked up her phone, called my dad's cell phone. And he's like, hey, what's up? We're at so-and-so's house for a barbecue. We'll probably be back like at 8:00 at night or something like that. She's like, oh, nobody's home upstairs? He's like, no one's home upstairs. We've been here since whatever time, like 1:00 or 12:00 or so, right? So she's like, oh, okay. She said she hung up the phone. She went and locked herself in the bedroom until we all came back. So it's crazy that, I shared hearing these footsteps and stuff like that. And later on, people start sharing that they heard the same thing.
Mm.
So I'll share the story of what happened prior to when we moved out. And I got a couple of more stories that, one is related to this house in my podcast, and two, my same two cousins, like nearly a decade later, encountered something in that house. So when I told you that the stuff with the door and the calling of my name, like that was my last straw, that was like legitimately it.
Yeah.
So a few months later, my parents ended up closing on a house. We were going to move out. And prior to leaving, my mom, she's Catholic. She's like super Catholic. And she has like one of those like incense burner things that they have in the Catholic church that they swing around and stuff.
Yeah.
So she had one of those. And the last thing she was going to do before we moved out was she was just going to just pray and bless the house. So she did that in her room, my room, kitchen, dining room, living room, right? She goes downstairs and she goes to my uncle who was home at the time. My uncle's Muslim. And she was like, is it okay if I do this? He's like, to me, I don't give a shit. It's all the same thing to me. Yeah. So she starts in the living room, goes to their dining room, goes to their kitchen, goes to their like side room, goes to their room, and then she gets to my cousin's room. She walks in and she's like burning the incense and saying a prayer. And she said, while she was in there, it felt like something did this to her.
Hand around the neck.
Yes. And just started squeezing to the point where she's like, okay, I'm done. She left.
Yeah.
That same night, Liam, she went to bed. She dreamt that she woke up in her bed to an old lady standing in her doorway, screaming and pointing at her, yelling, saying, you're trying to kick me out of my house. You're not going to kick me out of my house. This is my fucking house. I'm going to kill you and I'm going to kill your family if you try to kick me out of my house.
What the fuck?
So in the dream, my mom gets up. She said she grabbed this old lady by the neck and pinned her against the wall. and said, "You're not going to hurt anyone. If anyone's going to kill anyone, I'm going to kill you if you touch my family." And here's where it gets weird for me. Because, I'm like, okay, you had the incident where you felt like something's choking you. Maybe your mind is making this up, right?
Mm.
What kind of makes it weird for me is that this fucking thing in the dream shapeshifted into a little girl and started to plead for mercy.
The fuck? That's weird.
And then randomly, one of my other aunts shows up in the dream and says to my mom, "Don't worry about it. She's not going to fucking do anything. Let it go. It's not going to do anything." And shortly after, we ended up moving out. And the only reason my mom remembers this so vividly, and I remember it so vividly, is like literally that morning, as soon as she woke up and I was awake, she's like, "Chris, I got to tell you what happened in this dream that I had." So to me, I'm like, is it a dream or is it some form of like communication in the dream realm, as some people call it, like the astral realm, whatever you want to call it, or just a culmination of all these things and stresses coming together in that like final moment where like she can finally release like the stress of living in a fucking haunted house. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely weird.
Yeah. So like I didn't know where to go from there. To me, that's where I think there was something more, a little bit more at play. Because if it was just a regular dream, it'd be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
But
100%.
the fact that it like shape shifted into a little girl, like while she was holding it against the wall, I'm like,
exactly.
Okay, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's weird.
Yeah.
So the one story that I have, it's from my sister. And my sister, I think she graduated high school in like 2013 or 2014. So we had moved out by then. I think we moved in like 2007, 2008-ish type of time frame. So you're talking about 6-7 years after moving out of that home. So my sister graduates from high school. My one cousin that I told you that saw the little ghost boy with her had moved to Georgia. So she came up for my sister's graduation, and my same aunt still lived in the house at the time, and she threw her a barbecue. So they're all in the backyard. They're having a good time. They needed to go inside to get something, right? So there are 2 side doors to go inside, and one of them leads directly to the kitchen. She said when her and my cousin, our cousin, wanted to go inside, for some reason they decided to go through the front door. So they go through the front door, and when you go into the front door, like immediately it's like a square type of hallway, and to the left is the door to my aunt's apartment, and there's a wall in front of you and then a doorway that takes you up the stairs to what was our old apartment. And to the left of the stairs, and if you stand in front of the stairs to the left, is like a L-shaped type of hallway where you could put your jacket and your shoes, and it leads to like a windy stairs that go down to the basement. So they go into that hallway. They're taking their shoes off. They're both leaned forward, untying their shoes. My sister said she's in the process of taking her shoes off. And then my cousin nudges her and says, "Jenny, do you see that?" In that L-shaped hallway, right where the doorway is to go down the stairs, is just this like black mass. They said there's just this black mass. My sister said she picks up her head, she sees it, and they got the fuck out of there. They left the barbecue and never went back.
I don't blame them.
So shortly thereafter, I think maybe a year later or so, my aunt ends up selling the house. And fast forward to 2022, my sister decided to go to New York for a few months to visit some family. So her and that same cousin are in New York at the time. They're at my aunt's house that lives like about 6 blocks away or so. And they were going to go take a walk to go to the store to get some food. So they're walking. Eventually, they have to like go through one of the blocks to go to like the main avenue where all the stores are. And for some reason, they decide, let's walk down the old block by the old house. They do that. They walk by the house. She said, as soon as they walked by that house, they both got like sharp pains in their heads simultaneously. And it didn't go away until they got to the end of the block and crossed the street. So the funny thing is, when I did a podcast with my cousin, I didn't tell her that I knew any of this. And whatever she shared with me, like the story, like literally matched up like a puzzle piece with what my sister told me. So that's like the modern, the most recent like interactions with that house. What's really fucking creepy is one of the episodes, it was a July, I was recording with my cousin. She's in Georgia at the time. And I wanted to record her paranormal experiences that she had while she lived in a house in Long Island and the experiences that she had in the house that, you know, my sister and I grew up in.
Mm.
She finishes the stories about the house in Long Island. And when she gets to the story, when she starts talking and sharing stories about the old house we used to live in, my cousin, who lives across the street and like 4 houses down from us, calls me. So I asshole button and I text him back. I'm like, hey, I'm recording a podcast right now. About the old house, you know? And he then sends me a text message that says, guess where I'm parked up right now? And he sends a selfie of him parked in front of the house. This man did not know I was recording that day, did not know who I was talking to, did not know what we were talking about. But as soon as she started talking about that house, he just happened to magically park in front of the house, call me, and then send me a selfie of him in front of it. All at the same time.
Like that. That's one of the things that there has to be something to it. That cannot be a coincidence. That just cannot be a coincidence. Like they say, there has to be some reason for that. I don't know what, but to me, there has to be some sort of reason for that. That is bizarre.
He said, I figured it would have been better to just call quick, LOL, especially where I'm parked up. I responded, I'll call you in a bit. I'm recording a pod. LOL. Then he sends the picture of him parked in front of the house. And then I proceed to say, you bitch. Bro, it's fucking wild that you sent that because I'm literally talking to our cousin about that house. And he said, element, laugh my fucking ass off. I don't really stop there either. The forces are working.
Definitely.
Yeah, like literally, I still have the message thread from July of 2023. It was July 22nd, 2023. Which is, it's creepy.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't explain it. And it's one of those things where it's like, is it a coincidence? Do you believe in coincidences?
I mean, majority of people would say that is coincidence, and I don't know. I think some things can be a coincidence, but then I think some things just happen too perfect for it to be coincidence.
Like all of that lining up at the same time, happening simultaneously. I'm like,
exactly.
I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about that.
Yeah, exactly.
So the last bit, more so like started happening after I started the podcast. Like in our old house, it was 2 floors. So we had one bedroom where we would sleep and the other Like we converted to like an office slash bedroom type of place. And that's where I would do my recordings. And I would record at night. And where my desk was situated, if I looked to the right, the door was like literally right there.
Mm.
And sometimes I would leave it open. Sometimes my cats would knock it open. But like in that hallway, while I'll be editing at night, listening to someone's creepy fucking story, I feel like I just go like, just instinctly.
Mm.
I don't try to do it on purpose,
Yeah.
but it's like, I always felt like something was there.
Mm.
It wasn't until after the podcast I got my first bout of sleep paralysis.
Been there.
So, yeah, it sucked. So, I was laying in bed and I woke up and I'm like laying there. Thankfully, I was laying on my side like this, and my eyes were like downward. So, I was looking at the edge of my bed. So, I didn't have like a clear view of anything in front of me or anything like that. I could hear my wife breathing, I could hear my dog snoring. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm awake, but I can't move. I got sleep paralysis. So when I woke up and I couldn't move, I just felt this feeling of dread. Like something was there looking at me.
Mm.
And in my mind, I said, like, God help me, just consistently in my head, Jesus help me, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, either that worked or over time, my body started to get sensation again. I could feel my toes move. I could end up moving, whatever, right? After I knew I could move, I just didn't move from that spot because I knew if I picked myself up, I was going to see something that I didn't want to see.
Yeah.
It was just that, like when you're out in public and you just feel like somebody's staring at you,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah.
So I just didn't get up.
Yeah. I know the feeling very well.
It's
Yeah. I've experienced it a few times.
yeah. Like
Mm.
people staring at you or just something looking at you.
Both. Well, like I said,
Yeah.
and the sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's sleep paralysis, like it could either be like a physical thing or it could
Mm.
be something like completely I think
Yeah.
it just depends
Yeah.
on what's
Well,
going on.
again, here we go. Then is this coincidence because, or I don't know. Do I have some sort of weird ability here? So obviously the first story you told about obviously with what you referred to as the duendes. Obviously, when you woke up, you saw
Yeah.
these black figures. I wanted to say to you, like, oh, could you move? Could it be sleep paralysis? But I don't know why. And like I say, I was thinking this at the time, but I felt like you were going to bring up sleep paralysis at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's weird. I'm scaring
Yeah.
myself now.
I mean, it's happened once and I hope it
Mm.
never happens again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but ever
Mm.
since like starting the pod and you talk to different people and I truly believe when you talk to like
Mm.
I've probably spoken to well over a dozen people now. It's got to be pushing like 30 or 40 or something
Yeah.
at least cuz I'm close to 200 episodes, so it's got to be up there. Like when you talk to people like us right now, just me sharing this with you, I
Mm-hmm.
think some of that energy like transmits
Definitely.
and it sticks to you.
Mm-hmm.
And me like listening to all these different stories because at a point for like probably 12 or 15 weeks straight, we had guest after guest after guest.
Mm.
Excuse me. And it's one of the things you just like sharing the story, you're listening to the person, and it's like, why do I feel like something is with me watching
Yeah.
me? It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after like Tommy says, you look into the paranormal, it looks back. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
definitely
Definitely.
think that's true.
Yeah.
Whether you are a believer or not, and for example, my co-host, he was like skeptical, like heavily skeptical, started doing the show, and like he's within the past 3 years, he's had like weird shit happen to him.
Yeah.
And I'm sad he wasn't able to make it here today because he would have to have another like hour and a half just for himself within the past 3 years, which is nuts. And he's had some UFO experiences, which is, I think that would make for a good conversation. So
Definitely. You know,
yeah,
he can come on himself.
yeah. But yeah, so like that happened, and then like I had this weird dream. So I'm a huge audiobook person,
Mm-hmm.
and I use Audible. So I ended up using my credits for the Bible out of all fucking books, right?
Fair
The
enough.
only reason I did it is because of James Earl Jones, like he narrates the New Testament. So
Right.
like I could hear Mufasa read the Bible to me, like okay, I'll fucking take it. So one night I woke up like 2 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. So it was a summertime. I went downstairs, right? And I laid on the couch, and my dogs stayed upstairs. They stayed in bed with my wife, and my cats like to roam around at night. So all three of the cats were with me. Um, I'm laying on the couch, couldn't fall asleep. So I just laid there, like wrapped myself up in a blanket, laying on my side. I'm like, you know what? Let me put this audiobook on, set the timer for 2 hours. And eventually I dozed off, right? With it playing. Um, I have this very vivid dream. I wake up. I wake up in the same spot that I'm in. I'm in the house and everything's the same. Still nighttime. And I go upstairs and I go to the room where I do the podcasting, and my wife is in there, and a few of her coworkers are there, and one of her coworkers are like strapped to the bed. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And like, oh, we're gonna sacrifice whoever to the demon.
What
And I'm
the
like, what
fuck?
the fuck are you talking about? And then I shit you not, Liam. This like you ever I don't know if you're a gamer or not, but if you ever played the God of War games,
Yeah.
the older ones on PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
the Minotaur,
Yeah.
like this fucking Minotaur looking type of thing shows up. And in the dream, I'm not scared of it. I'm pissed off
Mm.
because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is this thing? Why is it in my house? So, like when you have dreams that you're like fighting people and you punch somebody and it feels like nothing,
You can't
you
do anything.
can't.
Yeah.
I punched this fucking thing, Liam, and it felt like I punched like a flesh and blood creature.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I'm like fucking wailing on this thing,
Mm.
and I get it. I'm like beating the shit out of it. I get it out into the hallway. I like this is Sparta kick it down my stairs, and I literally kick it on its ass out of my front door and chase it out of my home. And then I wake up. I kicked it down the stairs and I literally like kicked it on its ass out the front door. So that happens. I wake up and I'm still in the same position when I'm sleeping, and the audiobook of the Bible is still going.
Mm.
So I'm like, I don't know what that means. I probably just have had like a vivid dream or whatever. And it was just it was one of the weirdest dreams I've ever had. I shared it with JJ Rose. If you've spoken to her before, and she's like
A
her
legend
inter-
of a woman.
yes, she is. Dude,
Mm.
she did the astral projection thing. I felt
Yeah.
her like on my arm. She told me that she like did that to you and you're like fucking sweating in the middle of the winter.
Honestly, that's the weirdest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, it was kind of
Just
strange.
talking to her is one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced in my life, but I fucking love her.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. It was great. I'm having her back on in I
Mm.
think like the end of next month, which is awesome. So her interpretation was like that was like your subconscious fighting off the fear of the paranormal that you have. Like like clearly we're curious about this stuff because
Mm.
we're doing a podcast on it. But at the same time we're scared of it. And she
Mm.
said that was you telling yourself subconsciously, instead of screaming, you got angry at it and you kicked it out of your space. And that's you showing like, like I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. I'm strong enough to deal with it. And the last thing I'll share, because I know we're like pushing an hour and 40 and it's pretty late for you. Um, went on Ashley's show, like I insinuated, right?
Yeah.
She had the tablet with the app, and it's as I'm talking and sharing stories, she said, like, she would show me different words that would pop up, like, "Stop talking," "You're
Mm.
lying," "Get the truth," "Keep going," "Get the truth out." Like, it would pop up like, "Man," this, that, different really weird things that, like, correlated with the story, and at one point, like, her dog started freaking out, and she's like, "My dog only freaks out when there's, like, a thunderstorm coming and it's clear as day outside."
Mm.
And towards the end of the show, I, like, struggle to get the words out and stuff like that, and I'm like, "I'm really struggling here. I don't know what's going on. This has never happened before." And she's openly admitted, like, "Hey, I have, like, gifts and can't really control them well." So, like, she says she's like a beacon for all this stuff. So, um, we end the show, ends great, and I just feel really uncomfortable. Like, whatever I talked about was here with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, no." So I called, my friend JJ from Southern Demonology. Him and I are good friends, and I told him what was going on, told him what I felt. He's like, "Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take this vial of holy oil and make a cross on your head and make a cross on your mouth." Liam, when I tell you I did this earlier,
Mm.
fine. When I did it that day, it felt like my mouth was on fire.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?" So, like, we go through reading some, like, psalms and stuff like that. I put him on speaker. He helps me out a little bit. And I was like, "Fuck it. I'm calling my mom." So I called my mom and I told her what happened. I'm like, "Mom, this is what happened." And she's like, "I told you to stop fucking talking about that thing. You're gonna call it back to you." Yada, 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 just reprimanding me. She's like, "Okay, open your Bible to this, this, and that." And she, like, started reciting stuff like prayers to Saint Michael and all this stuff, right?
Mm.
And, um, we got done on the phone. I FaceTimed my sister, and my sister was getting home from work at the same time. And when she answered the phone, she was walking through the door to go into the house, and she sees my mom sitting on the couch, just like laying there. And my mom looks like pale white, like she was drained of energy. She's like, "Mom, why do you look so like drained and sick?" And then we told her what happened. I was like, my mom did something.
Yeah.
She used her energy or whatever to cast away whatever. And I was like, fuck that.
Mm.
So I went on Ashley's show like early October. I didn't talk about it until I went on to Tommy's show in January of 2026 of this
Mm.
year. I was so terrified to talk about that ever again
Yeah.
that I was like, no, I need to put this on the shelf for a little bit. I was
Yeah.
like, if you want to hear about it,
Mm.
I'll type something out for you in a document and I will send it to you, but I will under no circumstance will I talk about it. But clearly I did today.
Mm.
But
Well, I appreciate it, mate.
yeah. But yeah, man, that's all the shit that I went through. Um I don't know, like, what do you think it is? Because, like, and I'll open up the question to your listeners because I don't know what it is. I have an idea of what it might be. Other people have an idea of what it might be. And this is where I like to do this because I openly ask people to debunk it because I would rather there be a scientific explanation
Mhm.
for literally everything as opposed to living with the fact that I potentially dealt with an evil entity or a demon.
Mm.
It's-
Well, I have the only thing I can say that it is for definite is weird.
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I can't, like I say, as for someone who, like I say, who used to have a very, very skeptical mindset,
yeah.
I genuinely can't explain any of the stuff that you've just told me. Really, like I say, the only one that I would have liked to have had more of a guess at, like you say, was the situation with the radio. But like you say, it done
Yeah.
it when it was unplugged. Can't fucking explain that. So
Yeah.
what the hell? Again, like you say, footsteps and stuff. like I say, now I've experienced that. I know there's a big difference between footsteps and floorboards creaking or anything else moving about. There is a big noticeable difference.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, from what you've told me, I think that there's definitely something dark attached to whatever it is,
Yeah.
or itself is something very dark.
Yeah. I think so.
That's what I personally think.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Mm.
And I was hoping you would be like, nah, I think it's this, and that. I was like, fuck. Oh man.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's like that's literally all I can think of. I mean, because I'm very unsure on where I stand with like demons. Like
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if they're a thing. I think the way I look at it, it's like sorry, people can be dickheads, so
Yeah.
surely so can spirits. So
Yep.
do you know what I'm saying? Like it's just if a person can be a dick, then so can a spirit. And if a person was like you say, we talked about Nazis earlier. So
Yeah.
if someone was a fucking Nazi when they were alive, then they're still going to be a fucking Nazi when they're not. And
Right.
if they can force their way through, maybe to something and attach themselves to something, then shit's going to happen. Is the way I
Yeah.
would look at it.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. I think that would be a logical thing. But the only thing that I struggle with is that, like, that whole situation when I was on Ashley's show,
Yeah.
and just the feeling that you get, like, dude, like, you are like 4,000 miles removed
Yep.
and you're having shit happen to you while we're talking
Literally.
about this. Literally, shit literally happened.
I was going to edit that out, but fuck it. Yeah, I had to go and take a shit.
But yeah, man, those are my stories, dude. And it's one of
Mm.
those things where, look, it's been like 30 years,
Yeah.
which is crazy to say, from my first experience, and
Hmm.
nearly 20 plus, 25-ish, 26, 7 years. I would say, okay, from when the Knicks last appeared in the NBA Finals in '99. You're talking about almost 30 years. And anytime I've shared these stories, man, it never fucking changes. It's
Mm.
always because it's just so imprinted. It's
Yeah.
just one of those things where I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to deal with it. Whoever lives in that house now, I hope they're okay. They
Mm.
don't deal with anything.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things that I don't think I don't think there's any right or wrong way to deal with it. I think you deal with stuff like that in the way you can. And as for the stuff when you were on Ashley's show, like I mean, I I speak to her fairly regularly. She's been on here. I've been on her show. So I mean I wouldn't say I know her really really well, but I'd say I know her well enough to know that she's definitely got abilities that she is good with and ones that she's also working on. So I mean it wouldn't surprise me, like I say, just through speaking to her, that something managed to worm its way back in, if you know what I'm saying. From knowing Ashley as well as I do, and you know what she can do and and whatnot, I think that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, but it's I say through doing this, like I say, I've spoke to people, like I say, all across the fucking world, and like I say, literally halfway around the world, and weird stuff happens. So,
Yeah.
like to me, it's just not a lot surprises me anymore.
Yeah.
Things still
Yeah.
scare me, but don't surprise me anymore.
Yeah, like I just last night I talked to somebody for nearly 2 hours that worked in a haunted nursing home, so it's
Mm,
like one of those things where
yeah,
there's always something new. But
exactly.
again, it doesn't surprise you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, right then, Chris. So I think that's a good place to leave it, I'd say. So before we finish, you just want to let our listeners know where they can find you, find the podcast. Give the 40 podcast a mention as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find The Wandering Road on every podcast platform, the major ones, Apple, Spotify. We also do video on Spotify and on YouTube. So if you are a video podcast person and prefer to watch people's talking heads, that's the place for you to go. Um, we are also on social media. I'm active on Instagram, and our handle is TW Road Podcast. I act. We also have a TikTok, which I should have this memorized, at TWR Podcast. We're also on Facebook, so if you search the Wandering Road Podcast, give that page a follow. I'm actually starting to be more active on social media, which I'll admit I was a little lazy on, but trying to pick it up. But if you would like to be a guest on the show or share some ghost stories or whatever experiences you had, whether it be alien, UFO, cryptids, demons, ghosts, whatever, we don't judge. You can reach us at our email address of twroadpodcast@gmail.com. Um, and if you do submit a story and you want to stay anonymous, just let us know, and we would be more than happy to do that for you. But yeah, we love interfacing with the community. So if you just want to say hello, just shoot us a message on one of our socials or email, and we're more than happy to interact.
Nice, nice. I like it. And of course, like I say, you do the football podcast with Tommy now as well. So
Yes, I
any
do.
football fans listening,
Yeah, any football fans listening, it's real football, not the NFL.
not egg
Um,
ball.
not egg ball. Yeah, it's the podcast is called Let's Get Footy. And I emphasize footy because Doug Bradley, Pinhead, reprimanded me for not pronouncing it correctly. So, Doug, I'm doing it correctly this time. Let's get footy.
Oh,
If you li-
there we go. That's a good one to end on then. So because especially if Ashley's listening to this. So, can you say the word twat for me?
twat.
Well done.
I can say
So
the
many
C word
Americans
too.
I've spoken to cannot say the word twat. They all say twat.
Twat. Twat.
Yeah.
Twat. Dude, I've been listening to like podcasts from the UK for about over a decade now, to the point where I can actually understand like the heavy Scouse accent. So like whatever you gets thrown at me, I'm good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Right then, guys. So we shall leave it for there. So go and follow Chris and his podcast. And well, yeah. Right. So we're going to leave it there. As always, go and follow the Instagram page at the Spooky Shed Podcast. The link in the bio there for the Facebook and the TikTok, because they're the only ones I'm using now, as well as Instagram, obviously. YouTube channel, merch store, all that other good stuff. And I shall speak to you next time.
The Spooky Shed podcast is a Pod Shed production.